What's up everybody, my name is Sho and welcome back to my channel. So, the hellhole of the spiraling mind. I really had to put that into the title because that's sometimes what it feels like. Is that true for you? So we're going to explore today how to relate to and see that hellhole of the spiraling mind, but also find a way how to inject ourselves out of the spiral. So we're going to identify the spiraling thoughts, and then I'm going to share with you some ideas on how to get out of the spiral. How does that sound? Does that sound something that's possible to do to you, for you, with you, or not? Well, listen on and let's find out, huh? So I've had a bit of a break. If you've watched some of my videos before, you'll notice I've just had about 10 days off. I've been busy here in paradise. Actually just trying to exist. Outside of the eclipse and the full moon last week, which was just so intense. And some of you watching this video right now might or might not be aware of your sensitivity to the point where you can see the relationship between your own emotions and the celestial bodies. Maybe some of you can see the relationship, maybe some of you cannot see the relationship. I am speaking into this camera for the rest of this video for all of you, right? For all of you, because I do remember the moments in time earlier on in my life where I didn't know the relationship between the celestial bodies and my emotions. Anyway, side note, let's carry on. So we have a spiraling mind, and it feels like the experience is a bit of a hellhole. It's like, why are these stories continuing to spiral in me, around me, through me, as me? And so the more we question why they're there, the more frustrated we get. Can you relate to that? The more that we get frustrated with the mind spiraling the same annoying stories, the more frustrated we get. Can you relate to that? So the first thing here is identifying our relationship to our own mind. If we are constantly giving ourselves a hard time because that which is, we will keep making it worse. We will spiral. We'll get frustrated. Our energy, the emotions that we are projecting onto ourselves will keep being bad. It will create more turmoil in your being. You see, you're more like a pond than you are a computer. When you drop a big rock into the pond, there's ripples of thoughts that spread across the full surface of the mind. And so when we are getting frustrated or angry from an emotional perspective about ourselves, we're creating huge ripples, huge emotional ripples through our being. And then the mind will keep playing out these stories. Ripple, story, ripple, story, ripple, story, ripple, story. And so at some point, if you are existing in a hellhole of a mind, and the same stories are playing again and again and again, the stories are always coming from an emotional charge, from something which is creating the story. The story in itself isn't the thing. It's coming from an emotional resonance, a charge. This is really important to know, really important to remember if we're trying to master our inner world, which is what I teach. We must learn to know that there's something behind the thought. So first of all, we want to stop getting frustrated at ourselves, give ourselves a little bit more compassion when we can. Right? A little bit more patience when we can and when we remember. But then we also want to start identifying when that same thought is back again. I've got that same thought, it's happening again to me. Why is that same thought happening again to me? Right? So that same thought is happening again. When you can catch it and notice with your awareness, oh, this same thought is happening. What's it connected to? Where in my body do I feel this? What's the charge? What's the emotion behind it? So a lot of people might play out certain stories in their mind because they exist in their body. Anger. Some anger exists. right? But the same story plays out again and again and again. It's like anger towards somebody else in the world. Maybe an old parent when we were younger, a sibling, a friend from years ago, somebody that hurt you in some way. And so that same story is playing out because we're still holding on to the anger towards that person. This is one example. One of the emotions that we could be feeling that relates to the reoccurring hellhole of spiraling thoughts. So the first thing you do is you identify the emotion behind the thought. And we identify the emotion behind the thought by being with the thought, noticing the thought, and being present with the thought. So sometimes thoughts will just happen and you can't really do anything about it. That's natural, it's okay. But sometimes you can, when you see the thought, take a breath, be with the thought, and notice the weight of the thought, the color of the thought. How does this thought relate to my body? Is this thought coming from a part of my body? Is this thought coming from a place inside of me? And what does it feel like? What does my body sense about this thought? So you see what I'm trying to do here? I'm trying to point you in the direction of your body to get out of the spiraling nature of the mind, the hellhole that we create, right? Because if we've got to the point where we are judging our mind to be a hellhole, we are in a place of deep judgment towards ourselves. Nobody else is creating this, you are. At some level of your being, you are creating this. So that's responsibility and accountability. There's also a big part of responsibility and accountability here. If we don't take responsibility for that which we are, which includes our mind, then how do we stop it? How do we relax it? How do we reduce it? How do we quell the ripples on the top of the pond? So we must take responsibility instead of going, somebody else, this is somebody else's issue. So we take responsibility. We notice the thoughts and we ask, we sense, we try and become aware of where is this thought coming from. If you're really sensitive, you can even ask that question to yourself. Where is this thought coming from? And you might even get an answer, depending on how good your relationship is with your unconscious self. Or you could say your guides, your higher self. It doesn't matter what word you put on it, as long as you understand that it is possible to commune with a deeper part of you. Right? You can commune with a deeper part of you. Now, I've covered a lot of topics here in the 8 minutes that I've just been talking. Right? The hellhole of the mind. Stop giving yourself such a hard time if you're using this kind of language. Like so many of us on the planet today are going through this. Really, truly. Right? So notice that I know that we are all, not all of us, but many, many millions of us are existing in a space of like really poor mental health right now. So we notice and identify that we are living in a hellhole of mind. Okay, give ourselves some compassion. It's pretty normal given the state of the planet we live in today. Then we start becoming aware of the thought. Okay, there's this thought going on. And sometimes it's possible to notice that same thought keeps reoccurring, like every few hours, every few weeks, maybe every few minutes, right? That thought is like there. Okay, so what you want to do is start noticing where or what is the charge behind the thought? Where in my body do I feel the thought? Where in my body is that thought related to? And then feel that part of the body. You see, it's not like we have to solve a complex mathematical equation here. The goal is just to use your intention, your awareness, to focus on the area of the body where you're feeling the sensations and the emotions. Then they go. Now, you might have to feel a bit more for a moment, and then they go. You have to feel more, and then have a cry. Then they go. You have to feel more, punch a pillow. Then they might go. But the point is, you have to start feeling. We have to all start feeling our stuff to become an embodied humanity, an embodied species, not one chasing up to the stars. Here and now, connected, like a freaking rock. Like what's happened in the world over the last 3 years, right? We've created this huge amount of trauma with the pandemic, and the fear surrounding it, right? And the propaganda and the control and just the fear of death, right? All of this stuff, right? Depending on how you've seen this situation, it's created different responses in us all. But we've created this ripple of trauma and pain throughout humanity. And we've all then sort of gone out of our bodies a little bit. We've all escalated our issues with our mental stuff because we're not safely connected to our body. It's like we've created a huge ripple in the pond. We've all jumped out of our bodies and losing our shit in our minds. Right, that's what's going on. And so now we're all learning again to go through our process of integrating this big trauma. It's all affected us in different ways, right? In many different ways, and many millions of people are even unaware of how much this has affected them and their world around them. It's been a hell of 3 years. So we're coming back in. We do that by starting to feel again, noticing the hellhole of the spiraling mind, noticing the thoughts, feeling the body, connecting again, releasing by feeling. Wonderful. I hope that short, quick, powerful download has supported you in some way. I will most definitely record another video very soon, and wishing you a beautiful, beautiful day. Again, keep me up to date if you have any questions on topics that you want me to cover, because I'm adding them to my inspirational list and using them as cannon fodder for titles and ideas. So this sun is getting very hot now. It's 1 o'clock in an Ubudian afternoon, and we've just had rainstorms for like 4 days straight. It's nice to see the sun. And today I will drive down to Kuta for an hour and go to watch Guardians of the Galaxy, which I have not seen yet. I hear is really freaking good, especially like the characters, like the depth of the humanness of these alien characters. Like, that's amazing. I hear in this one, certainly in the second one, volume 2. Anyway, I'm looking forward to going to watch that. I will head off now. Peace out. So much love to you. And yeah, I'll say hello again soon. Ciao, ciao.